Hi, welcome to my video on the powers of a binomial. I have the word extra here because I don't know if the teachers or the textbooks have this in their content or in their agenda or in their syllabus, so I'm doing it as an extra. And if not an extra, then allow me to go over what you probably already know. But if you don't know it, it's good to learn it. Here we go. Powers of a binomial. Let's use a plus b as a binomial, where a and b belongs to q, and q stands for the rational numbers. The irrational numbers are q with a bar above it, and then there's a set of real numbers which has both of these rationals and irrational numbers in it. But I'm going to look at a plus b as the binomial. So what about if we have a power of 0? So we have a plus b to the 0 power. Well, we know that to be a 1. Any number to the 0 power is 1, except 0. So notice 0 to the 0 is not defined. Not. It's does not exist. You could say not defined, whatever way you want. And let's continue. What about a plus b to the 1 power? The power is 1. Well, if a plus b to the 1 power, we get a plus b. What about a plus b to the 2nd power? Well, that means we have a plus b times a plus b. Because when you square, you multiply by itself. FOIL says first a squared, outside ab, inside b times a is the same as a times b. B times a equals a times b, because multiplication is commutative. You're allowed to switch them around. 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. And the last is b times b, which is b squared. So that becomes a squared plus 1 plus 1 is 2, so it's 2ab plus b squared. And let's continue. What about a plus b cubed? Well, a plus b cubed, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write down a plus b times a plus b times a plus b. Cube means multiply 3 times. But we know, we just worked it out, that a plus b squared is a plus b times a plus b. So there's a plus b times a plus b. So without multiplying all that again, let's just put a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So I worked this out and I got a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So I put that in the place of the product of these two without doing all this again. And because we have a binomial times a trinomial, let's go a times each one of these. So that gives me a cubed, and that gives me 2a squared b. A times b squared is ab squared. Now I'm going to multiply each one of these terms in the trinomial by b. So b times a squared is a squared b. Notice I'm putting the a first. So b a squared is the same as a squared b. B times 2ab is a plus 2ab squared. B times b squared is b cubed. So if we go through the a's first, then let's put the a's first. So I have a term like that is right here. So that's an a squared b. And I got an ab squared. So that's right there with a 2ab squared. And you're left with a b cubed. And if you add up your like terms, 2 plus 1 is 3. A squared. That's a b there, which is my mistake. And when you add up these two, you get 3ab squared and a b cubed. So those these two are added together. Remember, that's my mistake. That was a 1, so I just put a 2 there. And when we add, we get a cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed. So we could keep going on and on and on with that, but it gets tedious after a while. So let me show you a pattern. What we have here, and I'm going to write it out, is called P-A-S-C-A-L-S, Pastel's triangle. Now, Pastel was a mathematician that developed this, and as a result, he came up with some numbers. And let me write down these answers. Let's take a plus b to the 0, we got a 1. If we take to the 1 power, we got a plus b. If we take it to the second power, we got a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. And when we did the cube, I'm going to write down all these now, right through here. So that's a move over a bit. A cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed. So what I did, I wrote the first one down, I wrote the second one down, and that's a plus b there. I wrote down the square, which is this right here. I wrote down the cube, which is this right here. So notice as I went down, you can see like a triangle, like a size of a triangle being formed. And notice the middle. So right down through the middle. And what do you see? Well, if you notice, let's look at the numerical coefficients of this. So I see a 1 right here. Notice an A and a B has 1s. Notice that's a 1, a 2, and a 1. So let's spread it 1, 2, 1. And this is a 1, 3, 3, 1. So as I go down, I go a little bit more. 1, 3, 3, 1. So all the coefficients are, as you can see, coming down. If you notice, this is the 0, this is the 1, and this is the 2, second power. So if you come down through this line here, you'll see that's a plus b squared. That's the a plus b cubed. So the second number in this set, that's a 0 there. So the second number going through here is the power of the binomial. Okay? And if that be the case, I don't know if you see a pattern, but I'm going to draw little arrows. If you take those two right there and add them together, you get a 2. And if you take those two and add them together, you get a 3. And 2 plus 1 is 3. If you add, that's a 1 there. So this would be a plus b to the 4th power. So that's a 1. 1 plus 3 makes a 4. 3 plus 3 makes a 6. 3 and a 1 makes a 4, with a 1 on the end. Notice it starts with a 1 and ends with a 1. And if this is a plus b to the 5th power, then let's go again. That's a 1, and 1 and 4 gives me a 5. 4 and 6 adds up to give me 10. 6 and 4 gives me a 10. 4 and 1 gives me a 5, and that's a 1 on the end. So these are the coefficients, the numerical coefficients that's in front of the terms. So if you say, okay, that's pretty good, I can see what you're doing. But you look, that's a 1. The power of these two, either one of these is a 1. That's a 2. So the power of this term is a 2. And that's 1 plus 1 exponent, so that's a 2. And that's a 2. So a 3, so that means all these terms over here will have powers of 3. 3, 2 plus 1 is 3, 1 plus 2 is 3, and that's a 3. So if this is a 4th, and you say, okay, I got that. But do you notice that it starts off with an a squared, and then it goes to a drops down 1, and b increases by 1. A drops out, there's no a, but B goes up 1. So the A's are going down by 1 and the B's are going up by 1 to maintain the degree or the power. So if you take A to the 4th, what happens? Okay, let's look at A cubed first. That's an A3. So this is an A squared. So the A went down 1, the B went up 1. The A went down 1 more here, but the B went up 1. And the A went down to a 0 and the B went to a 3. So as the A decreases, the B increases to maintain the same degree for each term. So if I got a 4, so 4 is 4, 3, B to the 1. The A goes a square, but the B goes up by 1. So the A is going down by 1, the B is going up by 1. And this is an A, B cubed. That's a 2, that's a 1. So the A goes down by 1, B goes up by 1. And the last one, the A is gone because it's what? 4, 3, 2, 1. There's no A here, so this is B to the 4th power. So notice the A's are going down by 1 and the B's start to go up by 1. And that's a 4th power. Degree is 4. 3 plus 1 is degree 4. 2 plus 2, degree is 4. 1 plus 3, degree is 4. And that's a 4. And if you look over here, Pastel's triangle, that I memorized from years and years ago, I'd say, well, I got the pattern. So that's a 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. So that's a 1, 4, 6, 4, and that's a 1. Not too hard to learn, but it's developed through, I multiplied up here to show you how this was derived. Then I said, well, can we see the pattern? And once you see it, you won't forget it. So let's try A to the 5. Here's A to the 5. So what does A to the 5 get? So if you got a plus, so 5 goes to a 4 and the B goes up 1. The A to the 4th becomes A cubed and it goes from a 1 to a 2. The A goes to a 2, the B goes to a 3. The A goes to a 1, the B goes to a 4. And right on the end, sorry, I ran out a little space here, that's B to the 5, right on the end. And if you notice, again, degree is 5, 4 plus 1. Degree is 5, 3 plus 2. 2 plus 3, degree is 5. 1 plus 4, degree is 5, and that's a 5. And then you put the numbers in that I remember that gone through, because I just quickly derived this. So that's a 1, 5, 10, 10, 10 there, 10 there, then a 5, and a 1 on the end. That's plus B to the 5. And that's your pattern for working this out. And it doesn't take long to work it out, but if you memorize this triangle and see how these powers go. So if that's a 3, it starts with a 3 and ends with a 3. If that's the power of 4, it starts with a 4 and ends with a 4. And then you put the terms in here. Okay, let's go to page 3 of 4. Powers of a binomial. So if you work it out, I go 1, and this is the 0, that's the 1, and that's the 2, and that's the 3, and that's the 4, and that's the 5, and that's the 6. The numerical coefficients are 1, 1, 1, 1, and that's a 2 with a 1, 1 on the end. 1 plus 2 gives you 3. 2 plus 1 gives you 3 with a 1. So it starts with a 1 and ends with a 1. But in between, 1 plus 3 is 4. 3 plus 3 is 6. 3 plus 1 is 4. Starts with a 1 and ends with a 1. And that's a 1 plus 4 is 5. 4 plus 6 is 10. 6 plus 4 is 10. 4 plus 1 is 5. And you can see, not hard to learn. But I always write this down very quickly. 1 and 5 is 6. 5 and 10 is 15. 10 and 10 is 20. 10 and 5 is 15. 5 and 1 is 6. So you notice you got a 10. It from the middle. It goes out a 3 and a 3, 1, 1. That's a 6 is in the middle, 4, 1, 4, 1. Notice the two 10s are here, so you got a 5, 1, 5, 1. 20 is in the middle, you got a 15, 6, and 1. You got a 15, 6, and 1 in case you make an error. And the literal coefficients is that's a 1. That's understood to be a. That's just a 1 because it's a plus b to the 0 power, and so that's just a 1. And this is a plus b, and this is a squared ends with a b squared. So the a goes down and the b goes up, and you got a plus and a plus with a 1, 2, 1. And you got an a cubed, b cubed. So the a's go down, the b goes up. The a goes down, the b goes up. And you put a plus and a plus, so that's a 1, 3, 1, 3, 3 with a 1. And we got a to the fourth, a 4. So it's a 3b, a squared, b squared, a b cubed, and b to the 4. Starts with a 4, ends with a 4, and the a's go down and the b's go up. And we get a 1, 4, 6, 1, 4, 6, 4, 1, 6, 4, and it's a 1 on the end. And there's the pattern. And a 5, just do the 5. That's a 5, and it ends with a b5. So it's what? a4b, a cubed b squared, a squared b cubed, and that's a b4. And we have all the numbers. So we got a 1, 5, 10, 10, 5. 1, 5, 10, 10, 5 with a 1. Okay, you say, well, what are you doing all this for? Well, sometimes somebody could ask you to work out the fourth power of this, but if you didn't memorize this, we'd be in trouble. Imagine sitting down and writing 3x minus 1 times 3x minus 1 times 3x minus 1 times, and do that 4 times. But this way here helps you to conquer that. So we know that this is a power of 2, so it's a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Right here. The power is 2, so I got this one. Now, notice that when I write this down, that's an a plus b. That means that a is x and the b is 8. So if the a is x and the b is 8, so put x in the place of a. Done. X. And b is 8. So I'm subbing in. Again, a is x, b is 8. Sub in and work it out. X squared. 2 times 8 is 16x and 64. Knowing the pattern. A cube. Here's the cube. Again, you write down the path of the triangle. You write this out and you got the pattern. And what's the pattern for a cube? It's a cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed. That's the pattern for a cube. Again, you write this down and practice and practice. Now, what is a? You know that a is 5x. That's the a and that's the b. But because you got a plus subtract 2, it's better in this case to go plus negative 2. So b is the negative 2. When you change that minus sign to plus or negative, then b becomes negative 2. So a is 5x. A is 5x. So I go through and put 5x in the place of a. Notice I'm putting 5x in the place of a. Now I'll go through and put negative 2 in the place of b. Put a negative 2 in the place of b. And you just got to just do more practice. There's A, that's B. This is A with B squared. And that's B cubed. So I filled in the place of A, I put 5x. In the place of B, I put -2. And what's 5x cubed? 125x cubed. That's a square, so that's 25x squared. Okay. So 25 times 3 is 75. 75 times 2 is 150. And it's negative. And -2 squared is a 4. 4 5s are 20. So that's a 60x. And that's a -8. -2 times -2 times -2. Takes, learn the pattern and take your time. Now, this is the fourth power. So here's the fourth power. So the fourth power is a to the fourth, a cubed b, a squared b squared, a b cubed with a b to the fourth. And the fourth power with the exponents, what I do is I write this down first, like this, 4, and work all, they're all powers of 4 done. Then I go up here and have my triangle done, and 4 is 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. Then I look at this and say, well, A is 3x, and that's plus and negative, so that means B is -1. A is 3x, B is -1. So A is 3x to the fourth, A is 3x cubed, and B is -1. Then I got my 6. A is 3x, B is -1. Just take your time. And you got a square. And you got your A is squared. So you got your cube and a 1, right? You got your square and a square. Now you got a 4. A is 3x. And B is -1. But you got your cube. And you got your B right here. And you got a B is -1 to the fourth power. So you got an A, an A, an A, an A. There's your B. B is -1. And you go 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, 3. So everything is okay. And then you take your time, and fourth power is 81x to the fourth. I work up my numbers first. Negative, that's a 27 times 4. That's 27 times 4. 4, 7, 28, 108. 108, and that's x cubed. And it's a negative, because positive times a positive times a negative is a negative number. And we got 3x squared, so that's going to be an x squared there. And let's see, I have 9. 3 squared is 9. 6 nines are 54. -1 squared is 1, so that's a plus 54. And here we go. I got a -1 cubed because I work out my power. That's a -1, so that's a -12x. -1 cubed is -1 times 12x is -12x. And the -1 to the fourth power is even, so it's a 1. And that's worked out. And we have this one. Ooh, we got the fifth power. This is going to be a long one. So I have A to the 5. I got an A, 4B. I got an A, 3B squared. And I got an A squared B3. And I got an A, B4. And I got B5. And fifth power is right here. 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1. 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, and there's the 1. And so A is 2x cubed, and B is y to the fourth. So you got 2x cubed to the fifth power. 5, you got a 2x cubed to the fourth power, and b is y to the fourth. You got a 10. A is 2x cubed, and b is y to the fourth squared. You got a 10. A is 2x cubed to the square power, and b is y to the fourth cubed. And a is 2x cubed, and b is y to the fourth. What is the fourth power? And I have y to the fourth to the fifth power. And you can see, just take your time. Fifth power of 2 is 4, 8, 16, 32. And power of a power you multiply. Fourth power of 2 is 16 times 2 is 80. And I got x to the 12, just a y to the fourth. And I have 2 times 10 is 20. And I got x cubed, y 8. And I got a square on the 2 here, so that's a 4. 4 times 10 is 40. I got x power of power is 6. And y to the 12, power you multiply. And I have 5 times 2 is 10. And that's x cubed. Power of a power is y to the 16. And a power of a power is y to the 20. So, just takes time. But, again, don't know if you learned it, but it's good to know Pastel's triangle. But you might, if you don't encounter it this year, in the early stages of the polynomials, this is not. This is over further in the next second year on polynomials. And we work all of these out on your powers. So we have a cube. So we have a cubed, a squared b. We have a b squared, and we have b cubed. And when you do the triangle, remember you got a 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 4, 6, 4, 1, and you got a 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1. When you do as I do, I roll them down fast, but this is the fifth power. So I got them. I know I'm going to do fifth power here, and I got a fourth power here, so I went down to far as 5. And so this is the cube here. So that's a 1. That's an a cubed. 1, 3, 3, 1. And so a is 10x, and b is 4. So a is 10x cubed. A is 10x squared. B is 4. A is 10x. B is 4. But I got a squared. And B is 4. I got to cube it. And that's, if we work that out, that's 1000x cubed. That's 100. 100 times 3, that's 1200. X squared. And I got a 16 times 10 is 160, and 6 is 48, 0, x. And 4 cubed is 4 times 4 is 16, 64. Just got to be careful. And the fourth power is a4, a cubed, b, a squared, b, and b to the fourth. A goes down. 3, 1, 1. Oops, I forgot the 2 there. Look. And I left out a term, so I went, oh, good thing I checked. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the b is on the end. So remember, it starts with a 4 and ends with a 4, so be careful. 3 goes down by 1, and the b go up. And the fourth power, the numerical coefficients are 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. 1, 4, 6, 4, and a 1. And that's a plus minus. So A is 2x, B is negative 3. So a is 2x, b is negative 3. So a is 2x to the fourth. A is 2x cubed times your b in negative 3. A is 2x and b is negative 3. Squares. 4, I'm right here. A is 2x and b is negative 3 cubed. And a is negative 3. So it just takes time, but I'm working it out because I'm doing the video and I don't want the video to go too long. But you can go back and work these out. 4 to the fourth is 16x to the 4. That's an 8. 8 times 12 eighths is 96. That's a negative 96 if you work it out. And that's an x cubed. That's a 9. 6 nines are 50. That's a 9. 6 nines are 54. So that's a 108 x squared. And that's negative 27. And 27 times 8, 7 eighths are 56. You got to carry your 5, 216. And that's a negative 216x. And that's a positive 81. And we have the fifth power. So the fifth power is a to the 5. A 4b. A cubed b squared. A squared b cubed. And a b4. And it ends in a b5. It starts with a5, ends with b5. A's go down, the b's go up. And a 5 is 1, 5, 10, 10, 5. 1, 5, 10, 10, 5. There's a 1. A, again, we have plus negative. So A is, that's A, that's B. So A is X, and B is negative 2. So here we go. A is X. B is negative 2. 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 And B is negative 2 to the fifth. And so that becomes x to the 5. And that's negative 10x to the 4. And that's a 4 times 10 is 40 x cubed. And that's a negative 8, so it's negative 80 x squared. And that's a 16 times 5. 16 times 5 is 80x. And a negative 2 to the fifth power is a negative 32. So look at the work, but it takes practice. Find the second term of this one. The second term. Well, let's go over here and look at, if we write this one out, I got a 6 power. So I got a 1, a 6, and a 15. So that's a 6 and that's a 15. So the second term is right there. So the first term is a to the 6th. The second term is a5b. But I got to have a 6 with it. So the second term is 6a5b. So a is a half to the fifth power. And b is a 16. Oh, that's an x. Don't forget that's an x there now. And that's a 16. Better be careful. So write that down better so you can see it. That's the half to the fifth power and a 16. And so that's a 6. That's x to the 5. And a half, that's 1 over a half. 2 times 4, 8, 16, 32 times 16. And because I'm canceling here, 16 goes into 32 twice, 2 goes into 6, 3. So I get 3x to the 5. So that's the second power of, that's the second term of that. I didn't have to work them all out. And number 2, the third term. So a is, that's a, and b is -2. I want the third term of the fifth one. So the fifth one, third term, is a5, a4b, a cubed b. That's the third term. And because it's 5, the 5 is 1, 5, 10. So that's 1, 5, 10. So the third term is 10, a cubed, and 5, 4, a goes down, the b goes up. Got to be careful. So it's b squared. So it's 10. So a is -3x, and b is -2. So that's 10. -2 squared is 4. And that's a -27x cubed. So that term is 27 times 4. That's 270 times 4. And that amounts to 0, 4, 7 to 28, 1080 x cubed. Again, just extra practice, extra work. But if you haven't met it, then wait for next year. Don't get hung up on it. It might come around. If you like my video, then click on my like button. Click on my subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. Click on the notification bell. More videos are coming your way. Write a comment if you are a subscriber. And visit my math website, mathfullyexplained.com. And there you get information about me, my videos and content. Me is my degrees and teaching experience. The videos that I'm teaching in a certain way with certain strategies to help you learn your math better. That's what this is telling you in this section. The section on content has the topics and the number of videos on each topic. And the black font is what's online right now on my YouTube channel. And what's in red font will be coming in the near future. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.